Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. We're going to take a look at Arweave, and just before we do, I want you to know that I am not a financial advisor. I just have years of trading experience, well over 15 years, and my goal is to help you become more of an effective trader. So that's really the whole purpose of this channel, is to do that. I also have a Signal group / trading community, link in the description below for that. Check that out in your own time. See if you might like it. I actually have an instructional video to kind of help educate you on what you'd be getting into there, but it's a fantastic experience. I can't tell you how great it is to be able to get to know all of my patrons better and to actually help them improve as traders. It's a really cool experience, but I do send out signals for every single trade that I take, and I trade about 80-85% average, for every single trade, swing trades, day trades, hodl trades, whatever the case is. Anyways, check that out in your own time. With Arweave, though, one thing to note is that we are getting close to an all-time high here. In fact, I think we might have broke it or touched it. We're trying to break it right now, it looks like. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So this trading day started about 23 hours ago, right? We got 1 hour left in this trading cycle. So this candlestick here, essentially in the last 23 hours, has been about a 14% gain. And then prior to that, if you add it all together, we're looking somewhere in the range of about 42% in 2 days. So really good stuff here for Arweave. We obviously broke the major resistance level here. That was definitely a major resistance from before. I think the last time I covered it might have been a couple of weeks ago, and that was the all-time high at the time. At least the all-time high close, right? The one-day candlestick close, that's usually the most relevant resistance level. The second most relevant resistance level is, of course, the all-time high. So let's go ahead and mark that here. As you can see, the price is essentially just touching it right now. Reminds me of Solana. It's just waiting and ready to explode once it passes that point. So the likelihood of this increasing past that is very, very high, right? Once it breaks. So the key takeaway here is that we want the candlestick to close above that line in order for it to effectively become the new support level. That's the general concept. If we get closed out here in the next 55 minutes and the price is still underneath, it's going to be considered a resistance level, and we may have to wait a little while to see it break. Not to say it won't, it just might take longer because it's reaffirming itself as a resistance level. It's only been tested one time before. Why is it going to break now, right? It might need a couple more attempts. Just note that's kind of what's going on. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the moving averages. Price kind of bounced off the 50-day simple moving average yesterday, which is a very good sign. We've also got the RSI just touching 70, which is perfectly fine. The thing to note, though, is RSI can effectively work as a resistance level, at least 50, 70, etc. Therefore, we might see that hold the price action down, but it really depends on what happens with this one-day candlestick. Looking at the 4-hour, effectively a very similar scenario. Not much to really extract here, except for the fact that we didn't have a bearish divergence. We just had a bounce essentially to continue that bullish momentum. One thing I do see here that's a little concerning is just the amount of how far we up here. In other words, we are 6 4-hour candlesticks into a 9 candlestick push, right? So according to TD sequential, what it does, it takes the 4th previous candlestick and evaluates if it's higher or lower. It keeps counting. In other words, right now we're at a 6. Therefore, we might have 3 to maybe 6 more 4-hour candlesticks worth of continuation to the upside, right? So it's not out by any means. It still has gas left in the tank. So we could literally see another 12 hours of continuation at minimum if this would have come to full fruition, right? That could very well happen. Just keep that in mind. Also note too, this resistance level was tested recently and rejected within the last 4 hours. So we'll look at that as well. So all in all, pretty good stuff here from Arweave. Mostly bullish, bullish everything from what I've seen so far. I really don't see anything that's essentially bearish for obvious reasons. I see that obviously it's moving upwards, but everything seems to be looking pretty good. Let's take a quick look at the Ishimoka cloud. We broke through the cloud here earlier today. No, correction, that was yesterday, last night around 9 p.m. So the price has been continuing almost upwards ever since. Where are we at in TD sequential? We got a reset here. We got a little bit of period of consolidation, so it's just enough consolidation for the reset to happen. So that does reiterate the fact that we might see somewhere in the range of 7 to 9 hours worth of more continuation to the upside, or if nothing else, it may just stop out at that resistance level and go sideways, consolidate, eventually break to the resistance higher in the near future, right? But bottom line here is we got this kind of ascending pattern. So I think it's an eventuality before we see the price break to the upside. It could likely do that here soon. But just note when things make all-time highs, they start going kind of crazy, right? I don't know if there's a fever that goes around or what the deal is, but when the price breaks all-time highs, crazy stuff does happen. crazy good though, right? In most cases, it keeps going up. That's the bottom line, right? I'd much rather invest in a coin that just broke its all-time high than one that has a potential for 10x and it's really low. Seriously, that's just the way it goes. So bottom line here, Arweave is looking really good. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick look at some Fibonacci retracements here and just kind of see what potential we have for the near future and kind of go from there, right? So let's just go ahead and mark some support and resistance zones first. Let's go ahead and mark $69.40. That's a major potential support level. We've also got, what, 65.40 as a secondary to that. Okay. We'll just focus on those for now. And what we'll also do is take a quick look at the potential for Arweave. Say we get another increase like the one we saw here, in the last 24 to 48 hours, right? So in the last 48 hours, we've effectively seen roughly about 47%. If we get another 47% higher, we'll be right at about $98.42. But best case scenario, I would say, because sometimes when the price kind of comes up here, it'll do an extra little push and get rejected out there. We're looking at 105 is probably a best case. So if you're kind of going to create some stop targets, right? Some profit targets rather. You're going to want to set them just below the Fibonacci retracement lines, right? So I would recommend somewhere along the lines of just say $81, maybe $85 and $95, right? That way you can take profits just below it hits those resistance levels, and you have a chance to be able to collect that amount that's due for risking your money, right? So that's just kind of how I usually do it myself. So prediction here, I guess you could say by month end, Arweave has strong potential to be at 105. However, I think more realistically, we'll probably see it hover between 90 and 100 by month end. Now, granted, this could continue up to that point here soon, right? We can't dismiss that fact. But if that were to, we don't really want that. In other words, we want a period of consolidation before it ramps up any further. So I would like to see sideways action here and actually just break out right here at this ascending wedge pattern. Or just see the price come down, test one of these couple of resistance levels, give it a chance to calm down, and then leg up again. But if it comes straight up here, just say it shoots up to here right now, it's going to come back down 50% of the way. That's almost inevitable. That's why 0.5 is on the Fibonacci retracement line. That's the most common place in which coins will recede, because of the fact that it comes up so hard and so fast it has to come down. Also note too, the harder it comes down, the longer it takes to recover, right? So I mean, think about Bitcoin when it sold off in May after the China candle on May 19th. It took what, almost 3 months for the price to recover? Yeah, that's basically what happens. So in other words, this happens up here. It could come down, it could lose some of that support, and we may actually even see the price come all the way down much further to where it originally started, right? So again, just something to note. There's a lot of variables here, of course, but the key takeaway here is that you have control over the profit targets and the stop losses that you set. Be smart about it. Don't get greedy, and make sure that you get into every trade knowing what you want out of it. That's made me tremendously more successful, and that helps my success rate increase. So again, if you find benefit here, please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. Let's get these videos out there, make sure everyone can learn as much as they can. If you want to find more of a better environment, a more more constructive environment, you could say, my patrons are amazing. They ask awesome questions. I'm actually in there every single day, pretty much day in and day out. And it's really cool to be able to help grow and teach people how to become better. That's just something that kind of floats my boat, if you will. And then also too, icing on the cake, I send out signals for every single trade that I take. So you won't be in the dark at all. You'll be able to make some decent gains. You can follow along with mine too. I average 85%, if not higher lately. It's actually been a really cool experience. So check that out in your own time. Enough about that. Thank you for joining me here. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks so much. We'll see ya.